Hi everyone and welcome to my place. For those of you who have been following along on the 101 Sewing School, let me just recap for those who haven't and who are just joining us today. We made the book bag or the lunch bag. That was one of the first things that we did. Then we went on and we did a traveller's makeup puffy pouchy thing, complete with our makeup roll little brush for holding our makeup brushes. We then went on and we made out of 2 placemats a nice little handbag, or we took it to, I really love this idea, the beach bag. I just love it that you can turn a craft project or something that's not, you can turn or have a craft project out of anything, and these, I really love that because this was what I'm using for my beach bag. I really like that, complete with the little rose. Then I showed you all how to take a fabric door mat and just turn that into a sturdy bag complete with handles. I really like that idea. And then I showed you how to get take a man's tie and use it to make a little pouch for your sunglasses. Well, today, extending our sewing skills, let me just dump all of this. Today, I want to show you how to make a cushion or a pillow, and how to, let me get rid of that, how to make a duvet. How cool is that? And you know when people say that size doesn't matter, well, let me just tell you that size is all we have to contend with today, because from the first project we did, which was this here, which is the book bag, it is actually, when you look at that, that was 2 pieces of fabric and it's got a little flap on it, but it's actually a square of fabric. Now, our cushion is just 2 squares of fabric stitched around. Now, a duvet, this is for my single bed upstairs, a duvet is just a bigger piece of fabric. Really, really super easy to put together. To make the duvet, all you have to do is, like we are going to do with the cushion, you get your cushion inner, but I'll get to that in a minute. But this here is pretty much a bigger sized cushion. So it's a matter of measuring your bed, deciding the length that you want, finding the fabric that you want and the backing, and putting those 2 squares or oblongs together. So let's just go back and I'll show you how to make the cushion so that you can make your own duvet cover. And I just so love that I can have exactly what I want just by wandering down those rows of all those beautiful fabrics, which is like going to heaven for me. Right, let's get rid of this and that, and let's just look at making a cushion first. I really love this fabric, but whatever you want, you can get. Okay, very, very easy. So here are my 2 squares of fabric, and what I have done is that's going to be my inner, and I've made these here just so, actually stop, concentrate, Astar. You measure your cushion inner, so say from there to there it is 12 inches. You then factor into the equation 1/2 inch seams on all sides. So there's going to be a 1/2 a seam here, 1/2 here, 1/2 here, and 1/2 here inch, because all of our seams that we do are usually about 1/2 an inch. And so it's just a matter of, when you're cutting your fabric out, laying it down, and you're going to add, so if it's 12 inches from there to there, it's going to be 12 inches, 12 and a half inches this side, 12 and a half inches this side, which is actually 13 inches by 13 inches, and that's how you will get your measurements. Doesn't matter whether you're doing a cushion, whether you're doing a duvet, whether you're doing a bag, whatever. 1/2 inch is what we're going to be working with at this stage of the sewing school. So once you've got your fabric and you have cut it to the right size, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do right sides together. Now, some people are still having issues with the right sides together. Right sides, and when you're reading your pattern, when they say with right sides together, it means the right side and the right side go together. And you need to have both of your pieces of fabric exactly to the same size, because if you don't, and let's just say that you've got one a little bit longer here, it just means that it's not going to fit together. Does that make sense? So when you bring your pieces of material together, it means right sides together, and all of your corners and all of your sides are all going to be matching and the same. Now, the other thing that you need to, the new skill that we're going to learn this week is some fabrics are going to fray. Now let me just show you what I mean by that. Now look at this. See these frayed edges here? If you don't do a zigzag stitch on that, on the edges there, what will happen is that will continuously just keep fraying. See that there, how it's just going to fray? And it's just going to get shorter and shorter. And it's like when you've got a knitted jumper on, and if down the bottom or anywhere you get a loose thread or it detaches from its little chain stitch and you pull that, it just keeps pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling, and this is what will happen here. So today what I want to share with you, little wee tip, is on your sewing machine, and I'm going to turn this around like so, and I'm going to find my glasses. Oh, why is this always, oh, I don't know where my glasses are. Oh, here they are. Sorry. Right, see all these little frayed edges here? On here, on your sewing machine, most simple machines have got it. Across here you've got a little wee grid and graph, and you've got A up the top here. Let me turn that around. A is for straight stitching, B takes you to the right, to your left. Then you've got this thing here that actually looks like zigzags, and above that it's got a little letter there that says C, and when you go over to this dial here is your stitch length, and this one over here has all of those little numbers. So if you want to do straight stitching, A, it tells me here it's A, and that gives you a little diagram with your little wee thing, you know, your little wee straight stitch there, and then I can make my stitches bigger or smaller. So 4 would be what you would use for doing gathering, and I'll talk to you about gathering next week or the next time I see you. So I want to do that there, so I just have to bring that around to there. Am I there? Yes, so there's my wee marker up there, put the C to there, and for my zigzagging, I think I'll do my zigzagging on this material stitch at about 3. So I've put my 3 to there so that we're all set and ready to go. This is a skill that you need. You might be thinking, I can't be bothered with that, but do you want to put all that effort into making something and then the whole thing just frays away? No, you don't want to be doing that. Okay, so with glasses on, machine on, all threaded up here. Remember, as I said, you've got to pull your wee threads out, otherwise they could get all sort of like bunched up. Try and get rid of as many of those little fray bits as you can, because we don't want to be sewing those into it. Get rid of those. And then it's just a matter of taking that under your machine, putting your foot down, making sure that those 2 little threads there, because one's the bobbin and one's coming from up here for your stitching. You want to make sure that they're all out before you start. Getting around to here, and it's just a matter of just running along the edge of your fabric to just bind and hold all of those little raggedy bits that you know are just going to run away at the end of the day. So when you get to the end, lift up your foot, release your wheel, and just pull that out and cut those bits off. There's my other bit there. So now, when you look at it, look how much better that is. See that there? That is not going to fray, whereas that's going to just continue to do that. So by doing that little zigzag stitch, that's the best way. So when you look at that over there, you can see how it's all been, see that there? It's all those little zigzaggy stitches there are just sort of like holding that from going too far. Well, it's not going to go any further than that. So that's why you do that. So what I've done is, getting rid of that, round into here. So all round my edges, hold on just a minute, there's a little bit of thing there. Right, a little thread. Okay, so that's all been done. Now, before I even start sewing this, I'm noticing that I haven't done this stitch, this seam here, I haven't done any zigzagging at all, because that's come off the loom from the manufacturer, so that's already tightly bound anyway, so it's not going to go anywhere. But then when I look over to here, I've got the zigzaggy bits there. Now I already know that this isn't actually running the way that I want it to run, so I'm just going to turn that over there. Now let me just bring these two out like this. What you're now going to see on this particular, when it's laid out in front of you, the bird's going this way and the birds are going that way. When I do my cushions, I like it to be like so some going up and then some going down, so that if it doesn't sit properly on the couch or wherever you put it, it sort of looks nice and neat. So it could be this way or this way, you know. That's just the way that I do things. You can do whatever you want. But also, I really wanted to have those two stitches, that and that matching, because I know that that is all neat and tidy and that I'm all square. So, as I've said in the past, or over our little process here, you need to make sure all your edges are nice and neat and even. And a pinning now is the best approach. And we just, more pinning will save your life and will make you feel so much better about yourself. And more pins, the better. We're going to pin down there. Oh, now, see this here? That, when I look at that, see that I've got a couple of mils there that's extending over the edge of that. I know that when I cut this out, that everything was perfect. So what I'm now going to do is, I need to just make sure, bringing those two edges together, and then just using my hand and just giving that a little tug to actually make sure that those two seams are neat and tidy and they align. Now I'm not going to worry about, at this stage, doing any pinning along there, because that's where I'm going to leave it as my opening. Right, from there, once you've done that, taking that along there, just giving it a little wee tug, then going over to your machine, and we did something before we did straight stitching, and what we did was we did a zigzag. So this is where you've got to be thinking ahead all the time, and sometimes just a wee check doesn't hurt. So I'm just going to turn that around to the A, which is my straight stitching. Do it now, because you could be one day making something beautiful in a silk, and once those needle marks go into silk, no, you don't get rid of those little marks. So make sure that you've got the right stitch before you start. Now that, and we're going to go right to the edge here, bring it, and we're going to do, as I said, a 1/2 inch seam. So bringing that across, putting your needle down, take your pin out. Oh, just a minute till I go to the other side. Take your pin out, and don't forget that there's that along the side here on your plate. It gives you some little lines, and if you think that you're going to go offline and you're not sure whether you can keep within that 1/2 inch, just run it along the 1/2 inch guide that's on the base of your sewing machine. Now the other thing, I said was that when you're doing straight stitching, and if you do a back stitch, then that will fix, just go down, then go back, and then go down again. That will just reinforce that hem. So just running that all the way along, and I'm not going to finish this because we've done enough squares to know. And don't forget the other thing, as I have said in the past, take your pins out before you run over them, because the sewing machine needle is not designed to sew over pins. And I've shown you before, but I'm going to show you one more time what happens when you run over your pin. You could also possibly break your needle. If you break your needle, you will hate yourself, because you have to take everything out. You've got to rethread your machine, and oh, for goodness sake, you're just wasting a little bit too much time. So just go straight down to the end here, down to here, and then when you get within almost half an inch at the end, don't forget you're going to put your needle down, take your pin out, lift your foot, turn it around, and so your needle's going to be out just a little bit but still fixed in with the material, and then you're just going to continue sewing along. Right, I think we've done enough straight stitching for a time, and it's very boring anyway. Right, now once you've done that, the other thing that you've got to remember to do is to, without cutting the seam, just take that little bit there off all the way around, because we don't want that thick fabric inside our garment. So getting rid of that, because I've already done it. Wait a minute, it's in here somewhere. Where did I put it? Oh, for goodness sake, I'm not very neat and tidy today, am I? I've lost it. Oh no, I haven't. Stop. Oh, stop. Okay, so what I've done is, just going back to that little bit there, I've cut those little bits off, those corners off. That gets then pushed inside like so, getting a pair of scissors and then just putting those into there, and very gently just bringing that little corner out. It's not going to be neat, pristine neat, but it's better than having, and by having all that fabric out, it's just going to mean that you're going to have a nice little seam there. Right, the next thing that we have to do is we have to do a little bit of ironing. Now, we haven't done that before, but we are now. So if you give me a minute, I'll just get my iron and I'll show you what to do. So, and we nearly finished our first cushion. Oh, so exciting. Okay, so I'm just going back a wee minute there, because I just need to make sure that's all neat and tidy. Now, the next thing that you need to do is to press your seams. So that's the internal seams need to be pressed, and it's just a matter of, it's going to be a little bit difficult for me to do it on here because I need my ironing board, but it's just a matter of ironing those seams all the way around to make sure that that's nice and flat. And I was going to show you how to put a zip in, but I've decided that we'll just do a little bit more at the sewing school before we put zips in. So next time I see you, I'll show you how to do a zip and a buttonhole. So just giving all of your work, make sure that all of your seams are always nicely pressed as you're going along. Then to do the top to finish it, because all we're going to do with this today is I'm going to show you, we're just going to hand sew it across, but that can wait for another day. So what you need to do now is, we've added half an inch all around for our seams, which means that we're now and we've done 3 seams around, and we've got the top opening, which we have now. And to make that neat, it's just a matter of doing a little hem and pressing that over as we go. And where the internal seams are, what you need to do is just turn that over half an inch as well, and make sure that they are nice and flat, because if you don't get those all flat, you're going to have a hunky bit in the centre, and honestly, you're going to hate yourself. So the least amount of bulk internally, the better it's going to be. So just keep going around until that whole seam has been turned over. And it's now just a matter, as I said, I will show you how to put a zip in, but it's just a little bit fiddly and pernickety at this stage, so we won't worry about that yet, but we'll get to it in due course. The next thing is to get your cushion inner, and the best way to put one in is to roll that up like so. That edge there is going to go across that edge there. Open the bag and just get your hand in there, and I like my cushions overstuffed, because what's the use having a cushion if it's not? And then that just needs to go into there like that, and it's a little bit too big, but that's okay, because once I've got all this in, we'll be fine. I'll just get rid of that, and then the next thing I do is push that down there like that, bring those two up to there, and then you give your cushion a good whack. That's what I love doing the best. And then it's just a matter of going up to there, and you've got your seam coming up, you've got that bulk turned under. Get your pins and just pin those together, and then go to this side here. Make sure that those two seams, like I've got my seam running down there, bring those two up together like that. Put a pin into there, and this is, I really love these big pins, they're great. And then giving that a tug like so. I was going to put my teeth on it, but I've just remembered that my dentist told me the other day, your teeth are not appliances for anything other than eating, so don't use them for cutting thread or doing things. So that just gets the put a pin in there, and then just give it a wee tug to make sure that you actually have even distances in the middle there, going across to there, getting another pin, putting that pin into there, and we'll put another one into there just to hold that into there like so, and giving that a wee push down like that, and then just do a running stitch across there for now, just to hold your pillow nice or the opening nice and tight and closed. But we will come back to that, and for those who haven't done hand stitching, maybe I might just keep this project to finish off to show you how to do it. So that is your cushion, and as I was trying to explain is I like it on this side, and then if it turns over it's still the same way. I don't know why I do that, but it's just my way of doing things, because you know, so it'd be like that, and if the kids knock it over, it's still going to be the right way. Just the wee thing that I like to do. So there we have making a cushion, wee cushion, big cushion, extending that to make your duvet, and finishing, putting the duvet cover in and doing that bit across the top is exactly the same principle. Happy sewing, everyone. Go forth, lots of practice, and practice will make you perfect. See you again another day.